two guys in camp would be Kranick and Brazoban. Right?
Yes.
What do you like about each of them?
Their ability to go multiple innings, their stuff is real. Both of them. You can make a case for Brazoban, you can make a case for Kranick. They throw strikes. Obviously, Brazoban with the changeup, Kranick's the fastball plays up, like both of them, and they're both stretch out to almost 40 pitches. So see what happens here at the end.
Given that they both have options, what's sort of like the tipping point with the decision? How do you guys?
Yeah, and that's why it's a hard decision because whether one of them is going to break, going to make the opening day roster, the other one's going to go to AAA. They're both going to contribute here. You're going to go through a lot of pitchers throughout camp, and so they're both are going to be a huge part of this team moving forward.
If you had the opportunity to see Brazoban with the Marlins last year, what really cultivated your interest to bring him to New York, knowing that he was playing within the division?
Yeah, stuff. This is a guy that is 97 plus with sink, really good changeup, and his ability to go multiple innings. This is a guy, a guy that has experience at the big league level. We faced him last year before we traded, and it's real. So that's what we went out there and we were able to acquire.
Just following up on the rotation, have you made a call there yet?
Megill is going game 2. So he's going on game 2, and then we'll see. Obviously, Griffin is pitching today. Blackburn had a good day yesterday. They both came out fine. Let's see how. And it's not results for Canning. I think it's just more like health, But we're good to announce that Megill is going to go on game 2.
So Blackburn for the bullpen.
We'll see. Like Blackburn, Griffin. So
if Canning emerges healthy after the start, then
there's a good chance he'll pitch game 3.
And in that case, Blackburn in the bullpen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And there'll be, a million things can happen, but once you get to that longer stretch in April with no days off.
100%. Yeah. So that's why, whoever goes to the bullpen, the thinking behind it is we're going to have to keep these guys stretched out because we're going to need them to make starts. And that's, after we get there through the off days early in the calendar. So.
What went into the decision that Megill had the option? You could have sent him. What went into the decision to keep him?
It wasn't an easy one because of how well they're all throwing the baseball. But Megill earned it. He came into camp on a mission, and he went out there and earned it. He did a lot of the things that we were asking him. I think he should start with throwing strikes and attacking hitters, and he did that during spring. Stuff is elite. So, he earned it.
It's kind of a similar question that we asked about with like Brett Beatty, where we've seen Megill have these types of springs where on occasion it's pretty well. What have you seen that's maybe different about him that leads you to think it's more sustainable this time around?
With Brett?
No, with Megill.
With Megill, I think experience. I think being through the ups and downs and getting the bad news of hey, you're going back to AAA, or you're not part of the rotation, and struggles at time at the big league level, where it's having a hard time getting ahead, having a hard time putting hitters away, long innings, long at bats, high pitch counts, I suppose, and you learn from it. It takes time, and for some guys, takes more time than others, and hopefully, we're seeing a lot of good things out of Megill, and now he's got to go out there and continue to trust what he's been doing.
If it comes to pass that Blackburn opens in the bullpen, could you see him as a piggyback guy, maybe?
Yeah, we could, especially with some of the guys that maybe not going to be as stretch outs as others. We just got to be very meticulous when we put him out there. Like he's going to have to go, trying to keep the pitch count up. So.
Skip, what do you see out of Starling Marte? Do you think he's going to be able to make a valuable contribution to the 2025 Mets?
100%. He's an elite player. He's got to stay healthy. When he's healthy, we've seen it for so many years. We saw it last year. When he's healthy, he's an impactful player. So and we're counting on that.
What do you need to see out of Acuna, Beatty, before you name that second base?
We're just going to let it play out. I think it's just more health and see we still got, 3-4 days before we have to set our roster. Now it's completely out of their hands. So.
How's McNeil? Is he still feeling symptoms?
Yeah, but he's running around. I think he took ground balls yesterday. Yeah, it's coming along.
Do you view that cleanup spot in the lap as kind of fluid beyond those first three guys?
The cleanup spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there'll be days where you'll see Vientos there. There'll be days where you'll see Nemo there at the beginning of the year, and then it'll be fluid. We'll adjust as we go along during the regular season. You're always looking for ways to put guys in a position where you feel they're going to have success, and we did it last year, and that's going to be the case this year.
With the rotation, obviously, you've had a couple injuries. It's not the starting five-year division going into camp. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about the unit as a whole heading into the season?
Really good. I feel really good. We feel really good about it. You're talking about guys with stuff. We're talking about guys with a lot of different pitch type. There's the Peterson from as a lefty. You got Holmes making that transition with the unique stuff. You got Megill. So there's a lot to like there out of that. Griffin Canning, Paul Blackburn if he's there. We do feel very comfortable with the rotation.
How does it feel to snag a spot in the rotation again?
Snag a spot.
Win a spot, snag a spot.
I wouldn't say snag a spot, but yeah, feels good. Went out, threw well. So I'm excited, yeah.
Mendy described you as on a mission during spring training. Do you think that's a good way to put it?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say so. Obviously, it's been a few years of just being a fill-in, obviously, with guys going down and coming in. At some point, things got to change. Obviously, I want to be a guy that sticks. And like I said, after a few years, I guess things start to click, and obviously you want to, like I said, you want to be a guy that sticks. So I want to go out, I want to compete, and I want to win games, and I want to obviously trying to prove myself every time I go out there, but just consistency.
What do you think you found in that final stretch last season when you came up that kind of put you in this position to get here?
Just attacking the strike zone, limiting walks. I think big thing too early on was I was walking a lot of guys, and then pitch count would get up. I think as of last year when I came back, and spring training now is getting ahead of hitters, attacking hitters, pitch counts low, walks very limited. So I think that has a lot to do throughout the whole game span, is if I can limit walks and limit those 3-ball counts, I'll be in good shape pitch count wise and health wise, feeling going into each inning.
Disappointed it's not opening day.
No, it's okay. I'm fine with that.
You referenced it a little earlier, but just what would it mean to you to be or to become that kind of guy who's just, you're in the rotation, you're making 30 plus starts, we're not even talking about it ever?
I mean, at the end of the day, that's the goal. Be a guy that sticks, be a top guy in a rotation. Obviously you're trying to play as long as possible and obviously perform at a high level. That's what I aspire to be, what to do. So, at the end of the day, it just comes to results and being consistent. That's the biggest thing. So working on that, and, just got to make it one start at a time, one pitch at a time.
What do you think about facing the Astros game too, that lineup in particular?
Oh, third time in 2 weeks? Yeah. So, I'm ready. Just go out there, keep doing what I've been doing, attacking hitters, and, let the defense work and see what goes on.
Does it help facing the Astros a third time around?
Yeah. Same. It's weird. Obviously, they've seen me 3 times. They get an idea of what my game plan is, and then it's just that chess game of previous starts, what I've done. Then it's also don't shy away from what my strengths are. end of the day is you just go out and you build a plan and you go with it. And then if you need to go to the side with it and, change things mid-game, then so be it.
You mentioned the walks being an issue previously. What sparked the change in that for you? Was it like lack of confidence previously? Like, what was it that caused the change?
I wouldn't say lack of confidence. I think it's just trying to be too perfect, too fine. Trying to, like, outside, yeah, it's okay. Now I'm just trying to paint outside. And obviously when you're trying to do that, things can go. You're obviously overthrowing, and then you're missing by a couple inches. Might be close, but ball is a ball. It's just trusting my stuff. Stuff's really good. Just attack hitters, even if it's in the zone. Like, chances of them obviously succeeding, getting hits and whatnot, it's not very high. So, I mean, Mendy always tells me, good stuff, like attack hitters, and probably the outcome's going to be a lot better than giving up walks. Free 90s are not good, so.
How important was the sinker for you last September when you came back and had that really good run?
I think it's very important. Being able to run a ball in, mainly to righties. So, typically it seems like righties like to get out over the plate with the four seam and then four seam slider. Anything going out away, breaking out away. So sinker keeps them a little honest, and not being able to get out over the plate opens up the outer half, and then now they got to worry about inner half as well. So, and it's getting a lot of balls in play on the ground and, early contact, which is good.
You throw so many pitches. What did you figure out this spring that, you're going to work with in terms of that pitch mix?
Sticking with my strengths, four seam, sinker, slider. Worked with a curveball this off season as well, and with my brother. So trying to get that figured out. Before it was kind of like just a get me over dumper for a strike, where now it's a lot harder and tighter. So I think it's more lethal, I guess you could say. Can get swing and miss, chase, use it with two strikes instead of just being a get ahead of pitch. And then obviously the changeup, bringing back the changeup.
How do you feel about starting the season working out of the bullpen?
Yeah, I'm excited to just be a part of this group. Really, I mean, every guy that's in the rotation earned that spot. Through spring, and everyone's throwing the ball really well. I'm excited to contribute in any way needed.
Is it your understanding that when they use you, it'll probably be multi-inning situations to keep you stretched out?
Yeah, that's my understanding of it, is just kind of keeping the length, keeping the pitch count, kind of where it's at and where we've gotten it this far in spring, and continue from there.
How does just your day-to-day over the next couple of weeks change, knowing that you might be needed on, or are they maybe scripting a little bit, like which days you'll be going?
Scripting, I haven't heard anything about kind of scripting it. But no, the next couple of days is, just kind of how it's always been. It's just preparing to be ready to take the ball. And these circumstances a little different, where it could be possibly every day kind of being ready. And that's where, I'll have to, fine tune some things in my warm up and stuff like that. But, the bottom line, it's the same games once you get out there.
How do you evaluate just your overall spring? How do you feel about how you did this spring?
Yeah. I feel like I came in with a lot of unknown, given the circumstances with how the season ended last year, and, just being able to come in healthy and have a full spring training, and kind of build up. I felt like I built up at my own pace, and I felt with, I threw my last outing yesterday, and kind of where I am now is where I feel like I've always been to end spring training, where I feel like I'm in, good a good shape, good form to start the year and be ready to go.
Mendy's talked about wanting to insert a sixth starter come a mid-April stretch when you guys don't have a day off for a while. Have they talked to you about that, planning to maybe put you back in there for a couple of turns based on the schedule?
Yeah, it's been a possibility, definitely. And that's obviously something I'm a little more familiar with. But just given these circumstances right now, like I'm happy with where I'm at. Whether it's starting or the bullpen, the biggest thing for me this year was just coming in healthy and kind of like I said, there's a lot of unknown with the back and everything, and the back's in a really good spot, and I feel like my health's in a really good spot as well.